Welcome back to another Pokemon Draft League analysis. In this series, we'll be going over a very popular water fighting type Pokemon in Keldeo. So let's just get right into it. So when we're talking about Keldeo, first thing we have to mention is obviously with its high BST and its high and its unique typing as well. So as one of the members of the Swords of Justice, it is a fighting type. However, in its own niche or in its own specialty, it is water type. Unlike Cavalion with its steel, Terrakion with its like rock, and Virizion its grass. So Keldeo is the water type member of the group. So now, if you look at its HP stat and its defense and special defense, it's pretty nice. Well, above average 90s, bulk right there, 91 being the outlier right there. So attack isn't that well suited for Keldeo, though it does have access to some unique setup options and with Sword Stance, Liquidation, Aqua Jet, so in close combat, just like most fighting type Pokemon. But its unique selling point here is its high special attack and its speed, if you think about it. Its unique typing is also very nice here because it's resistant to several typings in like Dark, Fire, Rock, Steel, Water type Pokemon. Of course, it still has to contend with Electrics, Psychic, Fairies, and Grass types. So also Flying. So ability here is pretty null for Keldeo because unless you're running a physical set, since Justify would normally be useful for like some of the Swords of Justice, like the three I mentioned, Tracheon, Rebellion, and Virizion. But Keldeo's case is kind of unfortunately null since it only raises its attack, so not a special attack. However, in this way, I'm going to ask this question. So, why use Keldeo then, despite all of these, despite like the two positives? Well, the thing is, Keldeo has a very high special attack and speed. When you pair that with some very powerful like stab options in Scald, Hydro Pump, and its actual unique, its exclusive move in Secret Sword, and it just makes for a very powerful water like fighting type Pokemon, especially the fact that it's actually one of the best special based like fighting types in the game if you think about it. So, and Secret Sword is pretty much the main focus in this because it allows Keldeo to be like a very mixed or pseudo mixed attacker, which is pretty unique since it's similar to that of Psyshock. Its base power is 85, which is still respectable. So, and yeah, it's pretty strong if you ask me. So. And the stab options, if you think about it, water and fighting is pretty spammable since like very few Pokemon would want to try to switch into this thing if you want to. So and as I mentioned, its bulk is pretty nice too, especially when you have access to the move Scald, so that can help like deal with certain like physical threats. So, and not only that, its speed is amazing. Like 108 speed is something you definitely want to consider when like drafting Keldeo. So, and of course, like it is let down with its low what do you say, moveset or more coverage options, if you ask me. But it's still respectable enough. It's still decent enough. Like with options like Taunt and Combine, it's very good. It makes for a good stall or wall breaker, however you want to view it. So, and the thing about Keldeo is that it's pretty. It makes for a great Z move and choice item users like Choice Specs, Choice Scarf, as we'll go through. So overall, Keldeo is pretty much one of the more higher end like value like water and fighting type Pokemon. And if you're just looking for a Pokemon that's pretty much fits the bill and like comes in all these packages, Keldeo's for you. So yeah. So in terms of roles and uses, I pretty much already talked about it like a little bit, and here we'll talk about it a little more. So it's a special attacker pretty much. And a wall breaker, and you could also run it as an all-out attacker as well. So you could also have like Calm Mind with access to Calm Mind. And the thing about Keldeo is that it kind of acts like similar to like some psychic type with several psychic type Pokemon with access to Calm Mind, since obviously people would think of the move Psyshock. So those psychic types usually can have the pseudo wall breaking potential. Keldeo has that option, has that liberty, but with a different typing in fighting. And not a lot of Pokemon enjoy taking like fighting moves and begin with, so yeah. Of course, like with its typing water and fighting, it has access to some of the powerful water type moves in Scald, Hydro Pump, which is pretty nice, is when you're pairing with a Z move option, and Surf if You don't want to get burns, but you still want a little power, extra power. Secret Sword's obviously going to be on every Keldeo set, so I'm just going to italicize that. So then you want to have other options like Icy Wind, Hidden Power of your choice. Focus Blast is optional. Keldeo's one of the strongest special moves, so you want to definitely consider that. Then you have some other options like Toxic, Taunt. You could even make use of Endeavor plus Aqua Jet if you really are up to it, and also Swords Dance if you're thinking about you running a physical set. So for notable items options, you could try Water EMZ, Fight EMZ, Life Orb, Leftovers, 50% Berries, those I mentioned, Figgy, Agua, Papa, Mago, Choice Specs, Scarf, or Rocky Helmet. So in terms of like where you want to select Keldeo, I recommend like getting in around the second or third round, depending on what the cores you want or need, and it could also be drafted far later into the draft. So, but usually you might see Keldeo like drafted very like as early as maybe second or third round. But it's one of those Pokemon that if you see people not selecting this thing, you definitely want to consider it. So yeah. Alright, so in terms of possible movesets, we'll be going over 5 sets for Keldeo, so we'll just try to keep these brief as well. So for the first option, we have the Z-move user, more specifically Waterium Z, since the one I've listed here, since more often than not, you're going to be running like a Z water move. Z fighting is pretty nice as well if you want to try using it based off of Secret Sword or even Focus Blast, since Focus Blast is stronger. So of course, there is sort of a debate in that scenario where you want to consider like power variations between the two, and like reliability of moves and options, etc. So, like for instance, like Hydro Pump and Focus Blast can miss at times, but Scald and Surf and Secret Sword have all their unique traits as well. So, usually you want to pick between one of the two, like that, like either like Hydro Pump, Scald, or Surf, or a Secret Sword or Focus Blast. Often now you might just pick Secret Sword because of what I mentioned regarding its like being like a fighting type Psy Shock. So yeah. You could also run like Calm Mind to essentially bolster its special stats, its special attack, and its special defense. We'll go over that when we cover the sub leftover set. So but yeah, this pretty much gives Keldeo like extra like special like power just to like. And in tandem with like its Z move option, you could pretty much nuke any target if you think about it. So yeah. The last coverage option can be whatever you want. In particular, whether it be like Taunt, Icy Wind, or even Substitute. They all have their uses and whatnot. So Taunt in particular, as I listed here, pretty much help against like more defensively oriented teams. So it can help stall break and just like, and again like prevent the opponent from going for like say protect. So you can have a free Z move option right there, so or you just keep attacking them in general. So other options you might consider, like you could try Normalian Z plus Hyper Beam. Of course, that's goes to show how limited Keldeo's moveset is, but it's still respectable if you think about it. It can be used for certain targets, like let's say Toxapex. So yeah. Then you have Hidden Power of your choice, though keep in mind Hidden Power is not a good option to pair with Z move. So, and lastly Toxic or whatnot. So. Now the second set here is pretty much choice specs, and it's pretty much self-explanatory. It just gives it a 50% boost to its already high like special attack stat. So if you just notice, it's 129 special attack, and you just bolster it up, and it just makes it one of the better wall breakers in like draft league, since pretty much nothing wants to switch into Keldeo with the combination of Hydro Pump, Secret Sword, or like one of its options, like let's say Solve, Surf, or even Focus Blast. You don't want to switch into this thing. And the thing is, like, this is a great like mon to like bring in every time like you get your pivot in. You could try getting Keldeo in with one of your pivots, and then you could just get like immediate chip damage right there and there. Like at least doing like a third, like at least half or even a third to your opponent. It's pretty nice. So, and again, like moves like Secret Sword, Hydro Pump, Surf, and Scald are pretty spammable. So and there's same time attack bonus. So, and sometimes you may want to run a secondary like stab option, maybe like Scald or Surf, in case you want to be reassuring in terms of like you know, power or and accuracy. So Skull is pretty useful just because, like, of course, you could burn targets, but Hydro Pump can like pretty much break opposing teams pretty nicely. But of course, like, the caveat is is like not is this accuracy and the power point value that of 8, so you may want to like have that just in case. So yeah. Um, Again, you still have some limited but useful coverage like Icy Wind, Hidden Power, Focus Blast if you want to. So using with respects Keldeo, but still, like, it's a mon that's pretty much self-explanatory. Just come in, just do a lot of switch damage, switch out, sort of like a hit and run Pokemon until like it's done its job basically. So next set we'll be going over is its Choice Scarf set. So Keldeo is pretty nice with its base 108 speed, since that allows it to become a very strong revenge killer or just cleaner in general. And with that speed, it can threaten Pokemon such as like Tapu Koko, or even like a boosted like +1 Charizard X. So, and basically all the base 100s or below, it's pretty much like unsafe when dealing with the Keldeo set, since it already still has a very high special attack of 129. So with Scald, Surf, Hydro, Secret Sword, you can just make use of those. Often not, you might want to run Icy Wind just in case like you want to deal with certain like dragons if they set up, so like Salamence or Dragonite. So yeah. Or you could just run Hidden Power type of your choice. So this set's more self-explanatory. This gives you certain emergency checks, certain like those mons, like, you know, when you want to check something like, let's say, a Lopunny or something like a Dragonite. So you can try running other options with it, but again, similar to the spec set, it's pretty limited in coverage. So yeah. For the fourth set is basically the Subcom mindset. So this set is pretty interesting because, and pretty strong if like the certain like matchups allow for it. Since Calm Mind plus leftovers or like a 50% fairy pretty much allow Keldeo to be like a strong setup sweeper. So over time, so obviously you want to run Skull just to get potential Skull burns, or you could just have Surf or Hydro Pump just for the extra power points, however you ask you, or whatever. So, and Secret Swords, of course, for the pursuit of mixed offense. So now Substitute is pretty nice because you avoid possible status options. And the thing is, like, if you were able to get up a sub on a Switch and a Calm Mind as well for free, and you still have it up, you're pretty much enacting a lot of offensive pressure right away. So while getting slow recovery from leftovers. Of course, like with the 50% fairy, you could just automatically get like 50% of your HP once you go use once you like get below that 25% value. So yeah, it's pretty nice when you're just going for sub and you just automatically recover back. So yeah, and again, you want to try to set up this Keldeo set when your opponent's Pokemon can't really status, or what I mean by that is like when they can't easily status you, you know, when they're slower, or just they just can't hit Keldeo for good damage. Like if they just do barely 25%. Then you should consider going for the sub as well. But oftentimes you might just spam your stab options, which are still relatively strong. So try to avoid facing certain checks to Keldeo for the set, since it's pretty it's pretty matchup dependent. Like, let's say, of course, like a Jellicent could just wall the set completely. So getting rid of Jellicent right off the bat would be pretty nice, and so that would just allow like Keldeo just to break an opposing team. So yeah, and avoiding certain checks like or is pretty nice as well. Having Taunt is pretty nice, since it pretty much allows Keldeo to just stop any police Pokemon from setting up against it, or just going for like, let's say, like status if they are faster, or some recovery options. So the caveat is you can't with this, if let's say like, but the caveat is that like with sub you could possibly threaten faster threats like Tapu Koko, since if you're +1 behind a sub, they're forced to kind of go for like an attack or full switch out, so or do something else. So with the sub, pretty much allows you to get like, say, another kill. So yeah. So other options you might consider is like Toxic, Surf, or Rest. But at that point, like, it's often removing the substitute itself. So it's like, and that sort of not ruins, but sort of changes the whole dynamic of the set. So regarding like the Rest Talk set, Rest Talk Keldeo is pretty interesting because it pretty much makes Keldeo into like a makeshift wall for certain like physical threats. Since it pretty much like with the rest talk, it pretty much avoids Keldeo from being like worn down via toxic or chip other forms of chip damage over time. Since and of course like with access to like pretty like respectable defenses, you could like make use of it. So yeah. One thing that Keldeo likes regarding like the rest is that it has a pretty much unique item selection with the Rocky Helmet, Leftovers, Life Orb, and it makes its roles varied. So if you have Rocky Helmet, you could be like a let's say a physical like a defensive wall or like check for something like a Mega Lopunny, and you have Leftovers. Maybe you want Leftovers just to have a little bit more recovery over turn, or you could just be like you could just have like Life Orb, which is a standard special attacking set, and then you just like have that extra damage, and then suddenly you just go for the rest, just recover all the Life Orb damage away, and maybe have a cleric there. So, for this set in particular, like Rocky Helmet's pretty much nice to like wear down certain targets, like say like Mega Scizor, and so or certain U-turners that just get certain chip damage down. So. And then you have like Keldeo just wear down the opposing targets with like Skull Burns and Secret Sword. So yeah, you could also opt for Combine over Lead Talk if you want to give it more setup potential with this Keldeo. So that's pretty nice as well. So, and lastly, of course, you're gonna have to run like Skull and Secret Sword for stabs as well. So, and its EV spread can be pretty customizable. Like I said, like if you're gonna run like Rocky Helmet or Leftovers, maybe you want to run more like defense investment. Like in the set, like I've listed, like it has like max speed, like almost like max speed to speed, like base 100s. But if you wanna, you can like run like just max defense. So it could just help, especially like dealing with like certain physically offensive Pokemon. Or you could just run like I said, Life Orb with the rest just to recover off damage. So yeah. All right, so for teammates and partners regarding any Pokemon you want to pair with Keldeo, it's very important to consider like the following typings, since like especially like those on the top, because those are the ones that are pretty much help out Keldeo the most, and also help Keldeo help these guys out as well in terms of like being great Pokemon for any draft. So let's start from the top. Ground type Pokemon are pretty nice, since of course Keldeo doesn't want to deal with like certain electric types, especially those that are pretty fast. And if there's one thing that's very common in fast like electric types like Tapu Koko and Zeraora and like let's say like Mega Man Electric, they're very frail. So ground type move, let's say like Earthquake from a bulky ground type, is pretty nice. So ground types like Garchomp, Gliscor, Nidoqueen, and Hippo are pretty nice as well. So Steel types are excellent teammates, since they deal with like 4 of the 5 weaknesses of Keldeo, or 3 specifically if you don't think about if you think about some other types. But since they have like a good natural resistances to like Fairy, Flying, Grass, and Psychic, and not only that, Keldeo can deal with opposing Fire and like Ground type Pokemon with ease as well. So Flying type Pokemon are pretty nice, since not only do they threaten opposing Grass type Pokemon that Keldeo hates, they have access to U-turn or Baton Pass, which can help pivot into Keldeo, which can pretty much be helpful in certain matchups. So yeah, Dark type Pokemon are pretty nice as well, since they help out Keldeo in like getting in and out against certain targets, while having access to certain options, like to say Pursuit to like remove Psychic type Pokemon. So yeah, and they also form a great offensive pairing. So Electric types are pretty nice, since again having the option to Volt Switch into Keldeo in a slow or fast pivot, it's pretty great as well. So, and not only that, some of them can just form a good offensive like special core just in of itself, or just an offensive core right there and there. So, and Grass type Pokemon are okay compared with Keldeo, since Keldeo can deal with fire and ice and like Steel type Pokemon that Keldeo have or Grass types have problems with. So, thanks to its typing. So. Fire type Pokemon are pretty nice as well. They're excellent partners with Keldeo, since they always usually have like good powerful like offensive capabilities, like say like a Char-X, Victini, or Volcarona right there. So, and the good thing is like some of them are weak to like rock, ground, like types, both of which do not want to deal with like Keldeo at all. So, like that's something to note. Psychic type Pokemon are pretty great partners in Keldeo in general because like again like Dark types run Psychic type Pokemon and like Keldeo's probably one of the best Dark type Dark type checks in the game. So with access to Secret Sword and its powerful like special attack potential as well. So and then for like having like important partners like Pivot Mons are pretty nice as well since having a U-turn, full switch, parting shot, baton pass, especially if it's a Pokemon with like low speed, so you get that low switch initiative into Keldeo, since Keldeo doesn't want to doesn't want to get hit by something pretty hard, and you really want to be able to like respond to something, to like let's say an opponent's switch out, so that could be helpful. So having hazards, let's say spikes, toxic spikes, rocks, or mostly like having those spike options, let's say like Scolipede, Ferrothorn, Klefki, and even Rose, pretty helpful since Keldeo can just set up with them as well. So, and yeah, like with that, Keldeo is just like you just get like you can also net like certain like 2 kills with ease, especially when you pair up with hazards with spikes, T spikes as well. So, and then you have like good wall breakers like that could just pair up with Keldeo pretty well. Let's say like a Kyurem or like a Darmanitan, like especially wall breakers with like Volt turn potential like Darmanitan and Dundurus. They're pretty nice. And then like as well as having like say like something that just hits pretty hard with Bulu, and then Keldeo can just clean as well. So, and speaking of cleaners or revenge killers, mons like Tapu Koko, Gray, Weavile, Talonflame, or Swallow, or whatever you, or Pokemon that are just really fast in general, could just like appreciate Keldeo's like wall breaking potential, since Keldeo is pretty nice in that role. So regarding checks and counters for Keldeo, there's like a bevy of options to consider, especially when Keldeo doesn't have access to like the best special move pool, and that pretty much like hinders it significantly. So it's still a threat, like depending on like certain the right moveset it has, or like the options you can carry. Let's say if it has like taunt or whatever, or calm mind, or like if it's like specs or whatnot. But oftentimes it's far easier to check to say like a choice item set, like Scarf or specs with the right mon. So alright, so obviously grass type Pokemon, let's say like Bulu, Celebi, Tangrowth, and Vileplume are pretty much nice checks for Keldeo. They eat up all water moves and just recover back, so, and threaten Keldeo. Fast electric types or mons that are just bulky, let's say Rotom or Raikou, Heliolisk, and Thundurus are pretty great checks to it, offensively speaking, since they'll have access to Volt Switch, so they could just like, if Keldeo switches out, you just get Switch Initiative as well. So Psychic type Pokemon, especially those with high speed potential, like Mew, Latias, Necrozma, and Uxie, can make for good counters, and they all have access to Psyshock, so that alone with Psyshock, you just bypass the Calm Mind boost, so they'll take a lot of damage in that regard. So yeah, Fairy type Pokemon, specifically those with typing advantages and just high speed def, let's say like Florges, Sylveon, Togekiss, and Azumarill is pretty nice counters for Keldeo, especially the fact that like the Cleric can deal with like let's say like non-setup variants, like say like Calm Mind or Spawn variants as well, so they could just hit it really hard with like Moonblast, Play Rough, or like Hyper Voice in general. So yeah. Then you have flying type Pokemon. These are more specifically the faster ones, like Aerodactyl, Crobat, and Tornadus, because they're able to threaten Keldeo with ease and have access to U-turn, so they get potential switch initiative. Other flying type Pokemon, like say Gyarados, could just potentially set up on Keldeo and just go for a bounce or a Z bounce in that regard. So bulky water types are pretty okay current checks to Keldeo. They're not always like gonna be able to take Keldeo on 1v1 in some situations, but if they have the typing advantage, let's say like Slowbro, Slowking, Toxapex, and Tentacruel, and it also depends on the moveset as well, so they could like take on like Keldeo, just wear it down with say Toxic or just, and recover solid again. So then you have specially or mixed walls. Now, so some of these Pokemon are pretty much like the Mons I've already covered or typings I've covered over, but Mons like Amoonguss, Tapu Fini, Dusclops, even like Billfish of all Mons can pretty much check Keldeo. So now some of them, like I think of these four, like Amoonguss is probably the better counter to Keldeo since it has regen. Fini can just outright counter Keldeo with its typing, but it has to be careful since it could get worn down. So you probably need a Cleric right there just to give it some HP. Dusclops could just eat up most hits in general, but again, like it's pretty bad when it comes to dealing with the like this Calm Mind or Taunt set. So yeah. And Killfish can actually just done Keldeo in the sense that it just fears nothing of its stabs and it just sets up T-Spikes or just Thunder Waves in general. So now Dragon type Pokemon, now this is more specifically Dragon flying types or Dragon Pokemon with like good Spadef values, like say Dragonite, Mega Altaria, Mega Ampharos, and Dragology. Those ones can actually done, let's say like the Scarf or the Specs Keldeo 6, since these guys resist water, so, and some of them, in some cases, water and fighting. So they can actually switch into both of them and just like deal damage with it. Let's say Extreme Speed, Return, or like a fire off a Draco Meteor. So yeah. Now, water immune Pokemon, it deserves its section since they can just eat up or just take every water hit from Keldeo possible. Of course, Keldeo's like worst enemy is probably Jellicent since it's a ghost type and it is pretty much it could just eat up both Sword and like Scalds, Hydros with ease. Mantine's also kind of bad for Keldeo to deal with, though Keldeo could probably run Hidden Grass. And Gastro is also pretty nice as well since it could just, if it takes a water move, it'll just increase its special attack to +1, though having Taunt can just shut this down. So most of these, and also Vaporeon can just deal with Keldeo as well, but it really depends on the coverage and the moveset, since it can't deal with Specs Keldeo or Taunt Calm Mind Keldeo, but it can deal with it can't deal with, like, as I say, like a Keldeo with Specs that's gonna go into like Sacred Sword, so if it's gonna take that move, it's gonna take a chunk of damage, but it can at least switch into its water attacks. That's pretty much what I'm saying, so just keep in mind when guarding that option. So now Calm Mind users, let's say like Clefable, Garcelia, Uniclus, and even Colfag, if they get a Calm Mind or two up, they pretty much deal with Keldeo. Especially like the Unaware Clefable sets, since those are pretty much one of the better counters to Keldeo, since especially those that are like especially defensive. So, but if you're coming in like and you don't have a Calm Mind boost, then you're gonna be in trouble dealing with Keldeo. So the one thing I will mention is that some of these Calm Mind users do have access to Psyshock, so you can just break through Keldeo's own Calm Mind boost, so that's pretty much nice as well. So, and lastly, just have a faster threat or something that's faster than Keldeo. Let's say like Latios, Mega Diancie, Kartana, Tapu Koko, Superior, Zeraora, Alolan Ninetales, even like Mega Lopunny. And another one is like Mega Pinsir as well, since it has access to priority. So yeah, they can pretty much check or Keldeo offensively speaking. So yeah, so you have to watch out with Scarf sets. So that's why having like good walls is pretty nice as well. So for final thoughts, Keldeo is pretty much a very strong water and fight type Pokemon, and still quite reliable. Since if you think about it, just having that high special attack, speed, and natural bulk, paired with those great stab options in Secret Sword, Water, and then water moves like Scald and the Surf is pretty nice as well. So nothing's gonna be able to switch it. Like, well, not nothing, but like if you pair that with, let's say, that Specs or get a Calm Mind boost and you go into like Sea Water or Sea Secret Sword, like it's gonna be very difficult to switch into Keldeo. And the thing is, it has a surprising amount of like it can yield like a surprising amount of rolls, like for any team to like utilize. So it could be a good common user, it could be a good stall breaker, it could be a good scarfer, it could be a good Z move user, and it just has a lot of potential on any like team that's looking for an offensive mon. Like, so it just makes it a very difficult Pokemon to like switch in or scout for in like matchups, because even if you like consider that it has a very limited move pool, which it does, like, but the thing is, like, Keldeo, it's one of those Pokemon where you just know what's gonna do, but it just comes down to what role or what set it's gonna be for any matchup. So yeah. Now it still has pretty reasonable checks and counters, as I mentioned, and its weaknesses kind of hold it back. So that's pretty much nice to mention. So let's say like having bulky grass, or good water type or psychic type can just deal with Keldeo, or just have a faster threat in general. And also, if you could just figure out the moveset and also the item, it's pretty. It just comes down to having just the right mon, or one or two Pokemon just to deal with it. So, and one last thing, and it's not nothing. It's not nothing against Keldeo's traits per se, but more so like competition. Like, it still has to deal with a levy of mons to compete with when it comes to like for that water and fighting type slot. Like, of course, like other water types like Finny, Manaphy, Suicune, Milo, Gyarados come to mind for the water type slot though. And also for fighting types, you may want to consider something like a Buzzwole, like a Kelder, like Machamp, or even like if you consider like all the low tier fighting types, like it could just fulfill the same wall breaking core or potential that Keldeo can do. Like, again, if you're like that still doesn't like remove the fact that like Keldeo is one of the better water types in the format, and also fighting types as well. So it's quite reliable, and it's a great Pokemon to consider. So yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to like leave a like, comment, and subscribe, or whatever you want to do. So alright, so catch you guys next time. So see ya.